Parshat Korach, יהי רצון שהלימוד לרפואת כל החולים, ובתוכם טניה בת הודה מרגלית, יוסף יאיר בן אבי וחווה, הרב סיוון בן סימה בתוך כל שאר חולי ישראל. So Parshat Korach is a very unique and special parsha to me because it's my bar mitzvah parsha. So you have to make a certain decision about what to speak about, what not to speak about. So I'll speak about one of the things that I didn't speak about in my bar mitzvah. A lot of people focus on the argument between Korach and Moshe. But I wanted to try and focus on the reaction of Hashem to the argument between Korach and Moshe. And Hashem's reaction in Perek Tet Zayin, he says to Moshe to take matot. Matot in simple English are a staff. So each tribe is going to bring a staff. And they're going to take all these staffs and they're going to position them inside Beit HaMikdash. In the morning they're going to wake up and the staff, which is the chosen one, will have fruits growing out of the staff. Now I can think of many ways to try and prove who is right and who is wrong. My children have had arguments before, the way you choose who's right and who's wrong. Sometimes you'll sit them down and you'll try to hear through what they're saying, who's right and who's wrong. We have the story with Shlomo HaMelech with the two mothers that are arguing about a child, and he takes out a knife and then the mother, the real mother, says, don't kill the child, don't slice it in the middle. So there are many ways to solve problems. I think that this is one of the most awkward ways to solve an argument between Korach and Moshe. That all the tribes have to bring a staff. Not all the tribes were in the argument, but every single tribe has to take a staff and you have to position it inside Beit HaMikdash. Why? If you position it in the field, it will make a difference. If you position it, outside the tent of Moshe, will that make such a difference? What's the uniqueness and the significance of positioning it directly inside Beit HaMikdash? And the third one is, why is the sign for the chosen one that his staff will have fruit growing out of it? So on all of these questions, the Sfat Emet, in the year 1879, he says on this idea, "Va'inyan hu le'odia libnei Yisrael ki lo mitzad avodat Aharon nivchar." This is a very transformative sentence and very powerful in understanding the essence of jealousy in the world. It's very clear and very obvious that in the story of Korach, there's an element of jealousy. There's an element of someone rising and others who are not rising, who have a challenge from the fact that someone else is successful. Moshe has succeeded, he's a Levi. Korach has not really succeeded, he's not leading the Jewish people, and there's an element of jealousy. And in the solution for the argument, says the Sfat Emet, there's an analysis of what really causes jealousy. And before we understand what causes jealousy, it's important to state that the Rambam in Ilchot Deot, Perek Aleph, explains that there are two specific character traits that no one should ever get near. One of the two is jealousy. Meaning that the Rambam is stating a point where all character traits have a place, except for jealousy. And anger is the second, but we'll talk about anger a different time. But what is the root of jealousy and why is it so bad? Says the Sfat Emet again, the idea was, Lo mitzad avodat Aharon nivchar. Hashem wanted to show an idea, which is, where did we put the staffs? Where do we put the matot? We put it inside Beit HaMikdash, which is the home of Hashem. And we're stating that the chosen one is not because of their ability. If they are successful, it doesn't mean that they are a success. What that means is external success is not your decision. Some people will succeed in their jobs and some will not. Some will have an easy education of their children and some will not. Often I can give the same exact shir day after day. One of them I'll feel like everything was clear, everything went over, and on the next day, same shir, same source sheet. For some reason, it feels like it isn't really that clear. So says the Sfat Emet, Kilo mitzad ha'adam. Success is not what defines leadership. It's that Hashem chose them, and you have to ask, not why were they chosen because of their actions, but what is Hashem teaching you through the fact that they were chosen? And so says Hashem to Moshe, take all the tribes, equal staffs, put them inside Beit HaMikdash. They're equal. They're not different. They're not better or worse. There's not a hierarchy of greatness and losers. They're all the same mateh. And inside the home of Hashem, Hashem will choose who will be chosen. And therefore, there is no room for jealousy. Jealousy is when you think the outcome is not in the hands of Hashem, but in your hands. So if Korach looks at Moshe and sees a successful leader, and he's not that successful, so then he can be jealous. But if it's not Moshe, and it's not Aaron, it's that they were chosen, therefore they aren't better than you. Someone might be so successful at work. Some families might seem like everything is perfect. But you have to realize that comparisons mean that you think that it's all about you. Jealousy means that God is not involved. It means that I choose, I define, I decide. And so the idea of the solution for the Korach debate was to teach the entire Jewish people that when you find jealousy, you will never find greatness. Greatness is letting go of trying to be the one that defines and starting to take the concept of analyzing what is Hashem saying. You should not be challenging Moshe for his leadership. You should be learning why did Hashem choose Moshe and trying to educate a message through Hashem's choices. And so the other day, I was having a conversation with one of my great friends and great Rebbes, Rav Grauer, and we were speaking about the difference between assertiveness and aggressiveness. And when we look in the world, you can see a lot of people that are very aggressive about positions. They're very aggressive about grades. They're very aggressive about titles. And then there's an idea called being assertive. What's the difference between being assertive and being aggressive? Aggressive is when you are searching for success for you. You want to be doing well so that you'll create a name. Assertive is when you're aware of something that is needed, not for you, but for others. Moshe is chosen by Hashem because he never chooses himself as the ultimate great big leader that we'll all look at. Moshe is not the leader because of something that he did, but it's because of the character that he was. The character of Moshe Rabbeinu was that he was assertive. He searched where others were broken. He was broken. Moshe grew up in Beit Paro, not even knowing who his father and mother was his whole life. He was broken. He was challenged. But it didn't really matter. What mattered was to be assertive for the others that were broken. And our bracha this Shabbat is that where we meet jealousy, it's where we lose our true accomplishment. Our true accomplishments are not our salaries, our titles, but in essence, our names. And our names are what is the character that we build. And Moshe is a character that is chosen by Hashem to educate. That you might not have the best speech in the world. And for 80 years, I don't even know if anyone even knew his name. But what made him the leader, and this is what he's saying to Korach, is that Hashem was educating the Jews by choosing Moshe. His assertiveness and his awareness is the essence of true leadership. Shabbat Shalom.